All right, everybody, welcome. This is Frederick with Deface the Currency, here with Brooke with Be Humble. We're here recording at the She event. Pretty sure you can hear the music in the background. They're back there jamming, so you know we're missing the party for y'all. We're here joined with,
Hi, I'm Donnetta.
And I am Denzel Washington, but y'all can just call me Anthony.
and so today, man, today what we're kind of talking about, we're talking about what conflict resolution looks like in a relationship. You know, when we have those, we have those moments. You know how we handle those whenever there's, we're not necessarily seeing eye to eye. So, Donette, if you would, kind of when you're dealing with adversity or conflict in your relationships, like how how do you personally handle it? And well, let's start there. How do you personally handle those scenarios?
How I personally handle conflict within a relationship, like in a heated moment of an argument, I think it's best to just stop talking and walk away for a few and tell your significant other to walk away, regroup about 30 minutes to an hour, and try to come back because if you're in the middle of a heated argument, it's gonna keep escalating, and then you may say things that you're going to regret, most likely 90% of the time. So I say walk away if you can.
And how do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about that?
Well, I definitely agree with her. After you do the walking away and you come back, because level heads are always going to prevail. So after you do that, then you want to go ahead and put all the cards on the table. Because if you don't address, the big elephant in the room, the elephant is going to continue to get bigger in the room. So after everybody regroups or whatnot, then go ahead, put all the issues, no matter how harmful they are, on the table and address them one by one.
Yeah,
Agree.
I think one of the hardest things with people in conflict resolution is they don't necessarily understand the source of their emotions internally or what it is exactly. They know that a situation makes them upset, but they don't know like necessarily what it is about the situation that has them like riled up. So a lot of times, a lot of people, man, they look at a situation in its entirety and they react to that. And a lot of times, I feel like people do that with a template. They don't necessarily take who they're dealing with into consideration, or maybe the complexity or even simplicity of the issue at hand. So when it comes to conflict resolute, or when it comes to dealing with issues, man, one of the biggest things that I deal with is I always try to figure out what is it exactly that like I'm upset about. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, man, a lot of times you think about it hard enough, man, like you really start looking at yourself. You can really kind of start looking at yourself in the mirror. And I think sometimes just naturally, man, people don't want to do that. Like we don't want to necessarily like turn the camera and look at us and be and own up to at fault. And I mean, we see that just in everyday life. Nobody likes being, what I'm saying, being the bad guy.
Right. But I think that's where maturity takes place when you can learn to be accountable for your thoughts and actions, which sometimes it can be difficult, but accountability is where it's at.
And I would even add to that, sometimes it gets to a point where maybe both parties can't see themselves or whatnot. So then that's when counseling comes into play.
Hmm.
I heard an old quote by, I think it was Les Brown. He said, sometimes you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So being able to have that third party out there to sit down with you guys and say, hey, I don't know if you see this, but I'm seeing exactly what she's saying about you, and I'm seeing exactly what he's saying about you.
Hmm.
And this is a good way to really pretty much establish where you're going to go from there or whatnot.
Yeah. One of the things that I think when we talk about it that I really hate is in that moment. I think sometimes we lose sight of the individual that we're dealing with, and what we start doing is like I'll hear somebody say females are like this, or guys are like this, and we're always kind of grouping, no different than when we call somebody out for like being racist or something like that, where somebody takes a group of people and apply that characteristic globally. You know what I'm saying? Rather than I understand who you are and I understand how you process things, so technically I should understand that, and that's how I should read the situation. But I don't think a lot of people do it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes if somebody, I don't know, let's say somebody's mad because somebody's not talking, right? And then so people get they get irate. They get irate because somebody's not, they're not talking or being open, but maybe the person that they're dealing with, maybe they like to gather their thoughts, you know what I'm saying, and they like to process it so that when they come to the table, they're talking clearly and they have an understanding what the problem or the issue, or they've let the emotion settle, you know what I'm saying, and let them dissipate a little bit before they engage. Because I'll tell you, man, hey, you can't solve anything mad or angry. It's impossible. And we were talking about this earlier when we were in a session earlier. We were talking about emotions, and I said, man, a lot of times people don't realize, but when we find ourselves angry, we're angry because there's something in the situation that we cannot process. We've hit a brick wall. And a lot of times I don't think people take time to understand what that brick wall is, you know what I'm saying, to knock that down so that we can keep going and proceed forward, But I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I hate's a strong word. Let me reel back. Let me reel back a little bit. Now I done lost my thought, man. But
Dislike. Dislike, not hate.
not it's. I feel like people, again, when I talk about templates, I feel like people see a situation, and in that situation, what happens is we look at it, and socially there's some acceptance of like this is the behavior that I'm allowed to engage in this situation. And when we talk about police actions and stuff like that, the force continuum, we there's some people that they just go all the way to the top. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not even going to gradually step, like somebody's using the words, or saying maybe not using words at all, and somebody wants to take it to the next level and get a little physical, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's just how things escalate. And I've seen it numerous occasions, man, where that's where you start seeing like some of these stupid situations where somebody's like created an issue that's not even really solvable, but they're creating an issue to like antagonize, like to advance like whatever that to the next step. So like I could see somebody. Example, I had seen a clip or a video of a lady that she was outside. She went Facebook Live. Bam. She was like, and then she walked back in the house. She walked back in the house to her boyfriend, I guess, and she's recording and she's like talking to him, and she's in his face, right? And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, dang, man, she's trying to antagonize this dude to like do something like push her hands away so that she can advance it to the next step that she recognizes, so she could be like, oh, you gonna put your hands on me, type thing, right? And then so now this chain is going on. The sad thing about it is, man, this dude was trying to get ready. He was trying to leave, trying to get ready for work. You know what I'm saying? She was like egging him on. He had like walked away. I think he was calling somebody to come pick him up, and she had put the camera down, but I think he kind of like pushed her away, which advanced it. So now she's the victim. You know what I'm saying? She antagonized, but now she's the victim, and you know what I'm saying? She following him around the house. Long story short, man, she ended up shooting this dude, man.
I saw that. Yes, unfortunate situation.
I mean, but people look at it unfortunate. You know, we look at it an unfortunate situation, but like I said, the mentality behind that when we look at it, the fact that she went outside, went to the Facebook app, hit live, you have to understand in her mind there was something acceptable.
Yeah.
So she went in to antagonize a situation, right? And she got what she wanted. She pushed it, and that she feels like the fact that he put his hands on her gave her the right to now become, you know, an aggressor. And this dude's dead, man.
Right.
Wow.
I think the kids were in there.
The kids were in there,
Yes, I
man.
remember
Said
that.
daddy,
When I seen that.
and the mom. You know what I'm saying?
So unfortunate.
Daddy's dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why, like, a lot of times, man, like, I kind of hate it on the social media side is what happens, what we do is, man, you know, a lot of people that poke videos. I mean, even some of these videos that people put out now, you know, it's crazy to think about it. Like, just like this camera sitting up right here, it's like, you know, an argument breaks out and you're like, yo, man, how does the camera keep changing? Like, but people, how does the camera keep changing angles? But people are putting on plays, you know what I'm saying, as if they're reality TV. And the dangerous thing about that is, man, there are people that cannot comprehend that this is for entertainment yet.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So what they're seeing is they're seeing confirmation in how they can engage or how they're allowed to engage in a situation, man, and they want that, man, because honestly, some of those people get a kick out of that, man. They get a dopamine. They get like a shot of like euphoria from that, you know, and that's scary, man, and it's scary as it gets more acceptable, man. It's a dangerous thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Personally, man, like I'm trying to think. I was looking at situations that I've had with like my friends, even, you know, and I'll be fair and say like my male friends. You know, I've very rarely, like, man, we've been kicking it for years, you know, years, man. And I've never don't recall a situation where we've just blatantly like, man, we're gonna disrespect each other, or I'm gonna like drive this dude to like punch me in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I look at that and I say, man, I don't. The only thing I can think of is when I see like, you know, male and female interactions where that kind of happens, is I feel like because there's become some kind of acceptance or some level where women feel like they have the right to engage because and there's these roles that things are and aren't supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that, man. I hate that.
Right. Absolutely. So, okay. So while you were speaking, it's a little different, a little further off topic, not too far off topic, but so how can a person control themselves? Say if they've always grew up with anger issues, maybe because it's what their environment presented to them, and in their relationship, every time something goes wrong or argument, disagreement, it's not 0, 1, 2, 3. It's from 0 to 10 where they start yelling and cursing, calling names. So how can a person get out of that mode?
I think you have to want it. You know, we were just talking earlier when we were talking about like working out. You know what I'm saying? And we were like, man, you know, I've been eating 200 grams of protein for like years. You know what I'm saying? Because you take a gram of protein per body weight. You know what I'm saying? Per target body weight or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And come to find out, man, like I didn't need less than 100 grams. You know what I'm saying? It changes the whole concept of my diet. You know what I'm saying? But there's something in there that, you know what I'm saying, I had to stop, and regardless of what everybody was saying, regardless of what the fitness community is putting out there, I kind of got to a point where I was like, man, let me let me dive in and start doing the research kind of like myself, right? So because at some point in time, like for me, you know, hey man, I looked up and I wanted to take my shirt off at the pool again. You know what I'm saying?
Big fan.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, and I just felt like, and what it was is I just felt like I was working way, way, way too hard, and my results were like incremental, you know what I'm saying? So I was just trying to be more efficient, more efficient, more efficient in that. So, you know what I'm saying, research, started doing more research and started just listening, man, just started listening to my body, you know? So, but I say that to say that, man, when you look up, at some point in time, somebody has to look up and say, you know what I'm saying, the person that's sitting here, I'm doing harm to them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody at any point in time should ever, like, look up and see somebody in front of them, like, crying or hurt
Right.
and be okay with that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if I look up and I see the person that, you know, I love or I care about is in distress, that's where I'm supposed to stop and figure out what's wrong. And if I'm the problem, then kind of like I was talking about with the diet, man, I gotta sit down and I gotta come to those things and say, you know, hey man, maybe they lied to us, you know, maybe they lied to me, and start talking to people. But secretly, man, people know that that's not right, because they don't do that in, you know, public places, or, you know what I'm saying, they do it kind of behind closed
Oh,
doors.
yes,
So
behind
they
closed doors.
understand.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They understand that what they're doing isn't necessarily right, but
Right.
they just have to want to fix it, to fix
Right.
it, man.
So basically, a therapist is
Or
the need.
you know, or at least that's my theory. You know, I don't want.
Yeah.
And really, to your point, it's learned behavior. When you think about it, you know, pretty much, I guess maybe 95%, 99% of the things that we do today were learned. You take a basketball player, he didn't come out the womb shooting hoops, right?
Yeah, right,
And
right,
so
right.
he had
right.
to learn that. LeBron James, he had to learn that. People who are speakers, they don't come out the womb just speaking, you know. So it's the same with, you know, your behavior in relationships. If you've seen hardships or violent relationships in your past, it's probably a good chance that that's what you're going to project on your partner, unless you make like you said, make a decision to say, hey, I saw this growing up. This is not what I want. I want something different. Otherwise, it's just going to spill out in regards to what you've learned over the years, you know. So I think it's, you know, you got to make a decision and then learn behavior, learn new behaviors, get in different groups, you know, things of that nature that teach how to actually conduct yourselves in a relationship, you know. And that's not just you know, romantic relationships. That's in all relationships.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
It'll teach you how to communicate better when you're trying to run a business or start a business. It'll teach you how to do things better when you're trying to be in leadership, whether in the community or the church or things of that nature. But it's all learned. And the good thing about it, I always tell. So I mentor some young men, and I always tell them, the good thing about it, it doesn't matter where you're at, you can always unlearn that bad behavior.
You can.
Period.
You can.
I don't care if you're 100 years old.
You can.
It's going to be harder at 100, but you can do it.
Right. Yeah. I like that.
Pinnacle's the top, right? That means the top. So I was thinking when you said that, you know, we were talking about, you know, you're saying like romantic relationships, or not just romantic relationships. And I was telling people, I think we talked about it earlier, is I said, you know, in theory, you know, romantic relationships in theory should be like the pinnacle, or like the top of just your relationships that you allow in your life, period. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, man, we the rules of the game, you know what I'm saying, that the globe, you know what I'm saying, just society in general, I feel like they kind of take us out of like the normal progression of seeking those relationships, because now it's kind of like a checkbox thing, right? Like if the person has this, and I said honestly, man, it should be, does it feel right? Like when you decide to pursue, or you have those people in your life, again, top to bottom, that should be people that whatever it is that you establish in your life, financially, you know what I'm saying, emotionally, physically, the people in your life should never drop you below that.
Amen.
That should wherever you are, they should never drop you before that. Below that. But see, the problem is, a lot of people don't know where they're at because they're like a clone of a clone of a clone of a clone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So everybody's just
Yeah.
everybody's just following each other. You know, you're going that way, I'll go this way too, type
Right.
thing. You know, so.
I feel like social media doesn't help with that as well either.
Well, so here, look,
That again.
look.
Man.
What's up? How's it going? So let me tell you, man, social media, right? This is the concept of social media, if you think about it when you talk about the internet, right? The internet's supposed to be this world wide web. It's supposed to open you up to new things. Dangerous thing about that. These things, they call algorithms. You know, what algorithms do is, they kind of like funnel, you have to understand at the end of the day, business is business. You know what I'm saying? So they're there for advertising and things like that. So what they do is, you know what I'm saying, socially is they clump people together with what these algorithms do. If you're not aware of that, what you don't understand is they start clumping you with like-minded individuals. So that's why people sit around and they be like, yo, everybody is doing this, everybody is doing that. And I'm like, yeah, everybody in your timeline is doing that because
You're doing that.
everybody on your
But
timeline
Right.
thinks like finds enjoyment, and they find the same
Yeah.
things that enjoy, enjoying you. If you ever look at like, Facebook marketing and things, that's kind of what it is. You can go on there, create an ad, and you can pick out a couple people like this person, like this page, and it'll run this algorithm, and that's who it'll disperse people of like mind. So that's why a lot of times it's very dangerous that we don't get to see a diverse world, because it pushes, and it's almost confirmation bias is what it does. Is it pushes everything in front of us, and it tells us, hey man, what we're doing, what we're doing is right, because it's there to keep you engaged in the system. It's there to, give you that euphoria, to give you that dopamine. So it's not gonna piss you off and make you jump off the app, because that's bad for business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And which isn't, it's not their fault. It's just, a lot of times, man, we don't think for ourselves, and we let people spoon feed us, and we accept it for what it is.
Man, you're absolutely right. Because like you said, we were having a conversation earlier about the health stuff or whatnot,
Yeah.
and how all our lives we've been told we need X amount of grams of protein, we need this, we need that, or whatever. And what I was sharing with you earlier, being vegetarian for 6 months, and I get not even nowhere near that, and I still able to maintain my size and work out and all that stuff. But that's what I was taught, and I fed into it. I drank the Kool-Aid, as they say, for all these years. And when I stepped outside the box and started thinking for myself in regards to nutrition and things of that nature, it's like a whole nother world.
Yeah.
Whole nother matrix just opened up, and I'm like, wow. And so now I literally find myself on a daily basis going down different rabbit holes in regards to getting more information on how to do this in the fitness world, how to do that, what's going to make me better on this angle. And it's the good thing about the internet is, man, you can Google anything nowadays. So it'll tell you exactly what you need to know, in order to do that. But like you said, man, we just, for so long just fall into that pattern, of, the blind leading the blind almost, basically.
Yeah. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's but we don't teach it, and and everybody, arrogantly, man, we all want to feel like we're smart and we're geniuses. You know what I'm saying? So nobody ever. Which is why, I not joke around, but one of the things I always say, like, man, whenever I'm dealing with something, I always try to be the most ignorant person in the room, because that's the only way you can learn.
Yeah.
It's the only way you can learn,
Yes, because if you're the smartest one in the room, it might be a problem.
Right.
I used to be a trainer. And one of the things I used to always tell people, you always had like them employees that come in, they're like a hot shot, and they, they know it all. And, I would always tell people, I say, hey, man, look, let me tell you something. The moment you come in here and you feel like you know everything, I said that's kind of like when you become the most ignorant person in the room,
Yes.
to be perfectly honest with you. Because at that point in time, you have to understand, like, your learning stops. Because, hey, man, you got it figured out, and you kind of become your own worst enemy.
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, but ultimately, when we start talking about, like I said, the whole conflict thing, but before we can get there, and really a lot of the topics that we were talking about today is people's self-esteem and self-image is so destroyed. It's so destroyed now that so I use this example, right? I say, what is those little medicine cups? Like, like little medicine, like 5 teaspoons on top of like the Tylenol. So I was like, man, if I took a cup and filled it up with water, right? And I took it, and let's say there's been somebody that's been out in the desert for a week, crawling around, whatever in the desert for a week. And I came up to him and I said, hey, man, here, they would, oh, God, thank you. And that would be the most, like, that little bit would be everything to them, right? Now, if I was to go to somebody that had, like, lived in the springs, where they can just dip their cup in the creek and, get their own, like, spring water, and I was to walk up to them and say, man, here you go. Man, drink up. They say, give me some water. I say, drink up. Man, they would knock it out my hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was telling people, I said, man, when you think about it, that's kind of what's happened with self-esteem to some degree, right? Is because these little moments, people are so deprived of their self-esteem that one or two likes, like, it's everything to them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And don't
But
love it.
yeah, but
Don't put a love on that thing. Man, it's going through the ceiling.
Inbox.
Right.
yeah, they walking around the house like, yeah. But like I said, man, somebody that that has that they're full of themselves. It's nothing to them. It's like it is what it is.
Yeah.
So too often, man, people are seeking. When I look up and I'm seeing people are seeking the likes and people are seeking the attention.
Yes.
What we're seeing, man, is we're seeing people out in the desert deprived of their self-esteem, and it just sucks because kind of the world the world we live in. It's one of those, like, that's almost become the business model, is like selling that back to people. You know what I'm saying? Which kind of leads into like what we were talking about with hey, somebody can get on and be like, you need to eat 1 gram of protein, 1 gram of protein per body weight. And they say this stuff so confidently, and it's like the absolute wrong information, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that need for that attention and that need for that, it's there. They have to do it, man. That's how they survive. And,
Right.
that's why a lot of times, like a lot of feuds and a lot of beefs, I don't really take personally more, because I'm just like, yo, hey, maybe you need this, you know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm good, so, I'll let you get some points off, you know what I'm saying, so that you can, hey, man, you can feel good about your day,
Right.
But it doesn't shake me too much. But yeah, man, that's and I think that to go back into it, I just think that a lot of times, man, the lower self-esteem, people are always looking to get points off, man, because they're never content, they're never satisfied, because like I said, man, they're deprived. There's like driving your car around and you ain't got no oil in it, man. It's
Clunk, clunk.
Right.
yo, that stuff start making noises, man.
Yeah. Yes. Speaking of which, so back to social media. I feel like social media can sometimes mess up relationships, because some people have their ego boost, once again, off the likes, the hearts, and then sometimes that can cause conflict with those that have, what I'm saying, like low self-esteem, and they get that urge from the pictures and likes, and they come home and they just act so different towards their significant other. But not every relationship. But I do feel like sometimes that can mess it up too, a relationship.
Yeah, chances are, you know what I'm saying, with that, they're probably sometimes in a relationship that they're not in they're not. Let me say this. To be perfectly honest, man, I feel like the healthiest relationships are the ones where people are willing, somebody that's willing to be alone. And before you can get into a relationship, I feel like you have to be willing to get alone. But again, that's a loving relationship. There's two types of relationships, you know what I'm saying? It's like personal, which is unconditional, and then there's transactional, right? I feel like a lot of relationships today are more transactional, where I have whenever you like sign up for something on what I'm saying on the net, you got to scroll to the bottom and check terms and conditions, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And a lot of times I feel like a lot of people have that. They have their terms and conditions, and we check the box, and we check the box before we continue. What happens is, man, like as long as those conditions are being met, everything's cool. But as soon as somebody breaches, that contract, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, man, that whole thing falls apart. But it's not necessarily because, but people aren't necessarily in relationships with people. Like I said, it's kind of the things that are attached to them. So earlier I was saying, I'm not necessarily paying attention to you. I'm paying attention to like what it is that you bring. So with male and females, man, sometimes a lot of that may be, that's why some people get in relationships with the wrong people, because there's this ego thing that they don't necessarily realize is they get in relationships with the wrong people because of the attention these people are getting, you know what I'm saying? But the attention these people are getting always tend to be the problem, you know what I'm saying? But there's this ego thing of like, I got the guy or I got the girl, you know what I'm saying? But you got to realize, man, like that girl, like the way that girl, that guy, the way they operate, they're operating because, I mean, they're kind of deprived too, that they need that attention, you know what I'm saying? So they're not necessarily looking for your attention, they're looking for attention, you know what I'm saying? And in the moment, you're just the one that's happened to be giving it to them, you know what I'm saying? And as long as, I don't know, as long as you can hold up your end of the deal, you might have a chance. But, hey, don't slip up.
Right.
Don't slip up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hey,
right.
boys is on social media real quick.
Right.
Status change. It's complicated.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
That changes so
Real quick.
Like, dang, you was just in a relationship like 2 weeks ago.
Man.
You in the other room talking about, yo, I just said I couldn't take you right now.
Right.
Everything's on social media in the relationship. Some people,
And you know what's crazy is like as soon as that status change, man, you get the man, what happened?
Yeah,
You get the hold on, y'all was just in the Bahamas together. Wait.
Now the pictures have disappeared.
Right.
Man,
I'm not speaking from experience or nothing.
Yeah.
That's just somebody, my cousin them told me that.
yeah.
Right.
Yo,
Cousin them told me
yo.
In 2-month relationship.
Man.
That quick.
Right. Cousin told me.
Man, that's wild, man.
That's what I had heard.
That's wild. But yeah, man, a lot of those dramas, man, should like, and kind of I think people say it a lot when it kills me when people be like, I see somebody post something and they'll say something like, not being in their business or something like that, and I'm thinking like,
You put it out there.
Dude, it's all
you're hey man, you're the one that put it, like you're the one that brought me into it. You know what I'm saying? I need to, hey,
Right.
don't, yeah, I mean, you gave me all the details when you was on vacation, and you know what I'm saying, when everything was good and your gifts, I said, hey man, give me the juice now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened?
Say we invested now.
Yeah,
You can't just-
we invested
Can't
now.
turn it off on season 3. Come on, man.
You gotta start it. You gotta finish the series.
Right. You know what's going on.
Hey man, my homegirl, she would always say that, when they would have these they would have these Amber Alerts or these missing kids, and they would get on there and be like, share this post, somebody's been missing. And all of a sudden, like, they're found and they're okay, and it's like, yo, no, where were they at? Like, I need I need the details. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
Yeah.
And then now that's when everybody's like, please respect our privacy.
Right,
And it's like, what? What?
Yeah.
People are funny, man. People are funny. But like I said, it is what it is, and I think I feel like I genuinely feel like people, man, are doing the best that they can. You know what I'm saying, with what they have, and kind of that's what we're kind of here for, is trying to, I don't know, trying to expose other options, because they're just, I don't feel like they're openly out there, for people to be able to choose and say, oh, this was an option, kind of like with the protein thing. Like I never knew, you know what I'm saying, 40 years in the game, and I'm like, I've been doing that with even some of my lifts. I'd be like, I find out, I'm like, yo, so I've been lifting wrong, like I've been doing leg curls wrong, like, man, But yeah, man, I hopefully, man, like, conversations like these, kind of like you said, man, cause people to, kind of stop, man, and don't lash out. Nothing. Look, let me tell you, man. I've experienced a lot, and I realize, man, like there's nothing that deep. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing that deep that it causes anybody to have to go out and do harm to another individual. You know what I'm saying? Crimes against humanity, man. I hate it. I hate it, and we gotta shut it down some kind of way.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because people have to realize if they cannot handle their emotions, all it takes is 5 seconds to change your life.
Yeah.
It's a bad decision.
Yeah. Part of that is, when we start talking, we got to be careful about, our definition. When we, now I don't feel like people expound on things. I think they just like say words, and then like that word is like, somebody can drop a word on you. I can't think of any right now, but somebody can like drop a word on you, and they feel like they just wrote like a whole dissertation. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just said like the deepest thing in the world.
Right.
They'll hit you with something, like you'll say something, they'll be like, and should.
And is.
Right.
Drop back on you, man. Like, what?
Right.
In their mind, they just blew your mind.
Right. Start walking away.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, that's why this one don't work.
Right.
Man, it's crazy, man. People are funny, man. But we're gonna fix it, man. We're gonna fix it.
Yes.
At least for the people that want. There's
Exactly.
hey, man, in anything, man. Not everybody. I don't want to say great, but not everybody wants to. Not everybody, wants to. Some people are comfortable, man, and there's nothing wrong with that. As long as they understand, what I'm saying, the pros and cons of, like, what I'm saying, swimming in whatever waters they're swimming in.
Right. It just starts with accountability first.
Yeah.
Accountability.
I always imagine society as like, you have. I always talk about ponds, and I say, ponds of people, are comfortable swimming in their ponds, and when people start, people want to be comfortable. So what happens is that's why people swim in waters with like-minded people. And sometimes, man, regardless if you felt like you've outgrown certain situations, which is when you're always in conflict, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you're just in the wrong pond, or you're operating in an environment that, isn't, you can't be a polar bear in the desert, man. It just doesn't work. You're not built for that. So, and I think that's sometimes what happens to people. And hey, man, everybody, I believe in equality across the board, but the ability for equality, but man, not everybody's not always on the same level when it comes to certain things, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Everyone's growing at different times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they wanted to be, we could.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm
about the work.
yeah, hey, man, it's it's what I do. I just sit here and yap. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate y'all coming and doing this, because if we weren't here, I'd probably be sitting in my room, man, talking crazy to the ceiling, man. Like, I'd be sitting there talking crazy to the ceiling, man, writing on the board, like, yo, man,
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks for
man,
letting us
yeah.
out,
Yeah, I
man.
enjoyed it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go over here and see if they're over there jigging or not.
I know. They're cutting
It's
up
a
over
real
there.
party going on
Yeah.
over there.
Right.
All right, y'all. Thanks.